Hey everybody, it's Marc St-Onge from Ben Beauty here, and today I'm going to share with you my top 5 self-care tips. And the reason I really want to do this now is because of what's going on in the world with COVID-19 creating so much hardship, stress, and fear in this world. We're starting to feel the effects of the self-isolation, the physical distancing, and more than ever, it's really, really important to practice self-care. So I'm going to share with you my top 5 tips. This is what I do. And the very first thing that I want to recommend is morning silence. And as part of morning silence, I also recommend the last thing you do is get up in the morning and look at your phone. So during morning silence, there's no phone, there's no computers. What I would like you to do, and this is what I practice, is 30 to 60 minutes, don't talk to anyone, don't interact with people, just start to kind of check in with yourself, start to establish a nice natural rhythm to your energy. I personally practice meditation, and I think that's a great thing. If you don't already practice meditation, this is a great time to start a practice like that. But this really sets you up so well for the rest of the day. But during isolation, we tend to move a lot less. So the second tip is really around movement. The reason that movement is so important is because when we're in some form of confinement, we start to have really constrained breathing. This creates a lot of tension in the body. Our circulation is reduced, the oxygen flow into our tissues and our brain is reduced. So this really starts to support that agitation that we're already feeling. So every 30 to 60 minutes, you may want to just get up, do some form of basic exercise, some stretches, really focus on the breathing, deep rhythmic breathing. If you can get outside and still maintain physical distance from people, then that's really the best thing that you can do is get outside on a regular basis, maybe several times a day, even if it's just for 20 minutes. It's going to make the world of difference. So in addition to movement, of course, another big factor is nutrition. Under times of stress and confinement, we start to see some of those bad dietary habits creep back in. So if we have access to fresh food, healthy food, we want to maintain a nice balanced diet, that's for sure, goes without saying. But in addition to a balanced diet, there's an opportunity that we can actually look a little bit deeper at our diet and look at how we can support our immune systems. So what we know about COVID-19 is that it creates some kind of dysfunction in our immune system. So that dysfunction is a hyperactivation of our immune system. This creates a lot of inflammation in the body, and ultimately this is the leading cause of the disease severity as well as mortality. This is otherwise known as the Cytokine Storm. So maybe you're seeing that term show up in the media a little bit these days. In fact, some of the most promising drug candidates right now are actually designed or being used to treat this cytokine storm. So as much as there's no cure today for COVID-19, there are definitely things that we can do to support a healthy immune response. So one of the most important things would be our essential fatty acids. So talking about omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, these are actually really known to be really great modulators of immune function so that we can create a nice healthy immune response. So it gets turned on when it needs to get turned on, but also can dial back and turn off when it needs to turn off. In fact, some studies have shown that in cases of cytokine storm, blood plasma levels were deficient in these essential fatty acids. One other fatty acid that they've found associated with cytokine storms is the omega-6 fatty acid called GLA. So make sure that you're actually getting enough healthy fats in your diet. That's really important. One of the other factors that is well supported by research is vitamin D. Now, the best form of vitamin D, of course, is sunshine, but during isolation, we're certainly not getting a lot of exposure to the sun. So we can actually get that through supplementation. It's important not to overdo it on vitamin D because this can have some stressful effects on the body, including your kidneys. So 1,000 IUs of vitamin D is probably really indicated during this time. The other thing would be vitamin C. It's a bit of a myth that vitamin C can prevent the common cold, but what we do know during intense and prolonged illness is that our vitamin C levels in our body get depleted very quickly. So we want to make sure that we're always kind of topping that up and eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables that can support that. Other food factors that might be beneficial, purple fruits, things like blueberries and blackberries. These are all really, really beneficial for creating a healthy immune response as well as controlling inflammation. Yellow and orange vegetables, they're really rich in carotenoids. These are also extremely important to maintain a healthy immune and inflammatory response. And there is a little bit of research to suggest that things like green tea are quite helpful in protecting our bodies against sometimes an overactive immune system. So one other factor I think worth mentioning here is, because I'm seeing it actually show up a little bit in advertisements on the internet, and the promotion of collagen. So collagen is of course a protein. It's very high in lysine, and I think that maybe some are maybe trying to promote lysine as an antiviral, but the truth about that is, collagen, there's no evidence to support this has any effect on viruses, and specifically, as we know, there's nothing today that has been tested with regard to COVID-19. Doesn't say that collagen isn't part of your dietary regimen. Certainly we can continue to support all aspects of our health at the same time, but just for some clarification, collagen is not an antiviral. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is, because I'm doing this now, is learning something new. So I have really fallen in love with the online classes called Masterclass. I've already taken several, and I just started one this week. This is by Sarah Blakely, and she's telling the amazing story of how she built her company Spanx. So I'm really enjoying that, and it's really important to learn something new, because anything we can do to feel like we're growing and moving forward, even though we are in isolation, confinement, is really good for our mental state. It really can switch us out of a negative state, and and learning can be fun. So whether it's Masterclass, whether it's any other online class, whether it's just learning something from someone someone that's part of your online community. It doesn't have to be a big thing, it can be a little thing, but try to stimulate those brain cells. So the last thing, number 5, and this is probably the most important right now, and this is for positive reflection. So positive reflection during a time like this can be maybe challenging, because we see all the the hardship and the fear, the death, and the effect on our society. And this is really, really hard for us to digest. But I think we have to simply accept that what the world is going through is unprecedented, and it's leading us to a place where the world probably will not be the same as it was before COVID-19. But there could be a silver lining. Not all change is bad. In fact, a lot of times change is good. And this could be the perfect time for you to do a little self-reflection. So before we really dive into looking at how we'd like the world to change, what changes we'd like to see, it's really important to kind of go within and say, what kind of changes would I like to see in myself? So you can ask yourself the types of questions like, what general direction am I heading in my life? What's really important to me? Have I set goals for myself? Are they even the right goals? So when you go through this type of a reflection, it's okay to acknowledge some of the negative feelings that come along with that. Right? It's not to be overpowered. It's just really to let things flow, but to really see what we want to move towards, we kind of also have to see what we want to let go of in the past. Otherwise, it will feel like we're always spinning our wheels. So writing this down, just letting things flow, looking at it the next day, adding more, crossing things off. At the end of the day, unpacking all this kind of emotional content, especially a lot of the unprocessed emotions, can really start to give us clarity about really the path that we want to take going forward. And when we do this, even amidst the hardship of COVID-19 and how it's affecting our global community, we actually could emerge from this a little bit wiser, a little bit happier. So let's not lose sight of that. We still have to get through some hard times, but it's important to kind of not dwell or reflect or focus so much on the negativity and really start to shift our energy to see what are the good things that await for us once we get through this, and we will get through this. And of course, it's important to really take advantage of and lean on your social support. Even though we are physically distanced, we still have to rely so much on the people that care about us, the people we care about. And, together we can do this. So those are my top 5 self-care tips during a global crisis. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.